Good morning. I'm actually presently surprised at the number of people in this room because I've not spoken to half of you in the exhibition area. So, welcome. And I don't know if the title outside is slightly misleading, but this whole session and 30 minutes is basically how Unity and VR and augmented reality and VR and AR is basically going to, and is being used in the architecture, engineering, and construction industries, or the non-gaming industries from that perspective, okay? And how it's going to be, how it's being implemented today, and how you're going to be able to gain and use your skill sets as Unity experts to further amplify the target audience that you can reach to deliver services to this industry. So on that note, let me see if I'm having issues already. Okay. Okay. So AEC meets Unity, and that basically AEC stands for Architecture, Engineering, and Construction. And what we have is that there's a whole process that comes through here. At this moment in time, Unity have basically worked with VIMtrek, and basically Unity is focusing, as you know, on the games industry, but VIMtrek is focusing purely as the technology and the global distribution partner for the AEC part of the vertical markets for Unity. So anything to do with architecture, engineering, construction, and product building, manufacturing companies, and so forth, we're working with those guys to basically work on visualization, whether it's AR, VR, and wider interactive experiences that they want to deliver. So what's the story here? The story is quite archaic, and it's actually quite old. And the reason for that is because the AEC market has such a tradition that this is the first time that virtual reality, augmented reality, and the whole interactive environment has actually taken itself by storm. And over the last 12 months to 18 months, since I suppose the release of the dev kits for Oculus and Samsung Gear VR, what we've noticed is that people are in the AEC industry are really adapting to what's being delivered out there from a real-time perspective. Okay, and they want to embrace this fully from that angle. So up till now, it's been quite slow in its adoption of technology, but this wave of technology has almost taken it by storm. And there are so many events and hackathons and so forth now going on in the AEC environment where programmers, games programmers, and engineers are now being hired to basically develop real-time experiences using Unity. So we know Unity and game engines to be used for such experiences as games, but it's not just for VR and AR. It's actually for a number of leading firms in the architecture, engineering, and construction industries who are actually paving the way forward as thought leaders in using Unity today. And we're working with a couple of them already, and most of these customers and these companies are actually looking for further enhancements. The thing is that game engines are not built for this industry. They're actually, as you know, they're predominantly built for games and interactive experiences from that side. And with that, with AR and VR becoming a revolution for them, the architecture, engineering, and construction industry are now convinced that they need to move in this direction and that they're embracing not just AR and VR, but also interactive design and ways of implementing interactive design as well as part of their everyday workflow so that they can have tools that will enable them to create faster iterations, okay, rapid prototyping, but also be able to use this as part of the design review and approvals, not just for presentation purposes, but also for internal review purposes as well of the physical building themselves, or actually even digital cities, for instance, that matter nowadays, are basically causing, they're using real-time technology for that. So it's not straightforward because CAD data, and predominantly Revit has 80% of the market, which is built by Autodesk. And it's a steep learning curve, okay, in regards to taking a Revit file which has a number of CAD elements within it. BIM data is one, and you need to take that into Unity. Today, that process is not straightforward. It's actually really difficult to do, okay, in regards to, unless you've automated a process or you've done this several times. I know a couple of people in this room who do it, and I know that they've turned around and said it's a nightmare in trying to take the data across from Revit into Unity. And what we've been able to do is that it's almost like being stuck at a roundabout, and you can see the roads that you want to get to where they're clear, but unfortunately, you're just not able to get there, okay, because it's quite a convoluted path. And when you are doing this, you're jumping through several hoops. So you're taking the Revit data, you need to convert that to FBX. By that time, you've lost all of the metadata that's involved in that product. And just to kind of give you an example, an architecture kind of project can go from anything from maybe 12 to 18 months to 15 to 20 years, okay? So this file, this Revit file, is constantly evolving, constantly being developed. And at any point in time, the last thing you need to do is to redevelop this architectural file and recreate it from scratch again. So why not just use the Revit file? So what we've done is your process today is Revit, FBX, into 3D Studio Max or Maya, whatever it might be, into FBX again, and then into Unity. It's a convoluted path, it's very difficult, and it leads for all kinds of complications as well. The other thing is that by the time you've got through this, you're exhausted, and actually this is not what you get paid for. By the time you get to Unity, you're like, okay, what do I do now? And you've run out of time because you've spent so much time doing the interop between one software package to the other. So we want to show you the path of enlightenment, okay? And at VIMtrek, what we've done is that we've actually created a very simple route to be able to do this. We've created an automated system which allows you to take a Revit file, upload it to our cloud, and you have two different methods of basically just showing this out to the client side. One is that you have a simple user interface which is built on Unity, and you can use that as a visualization platform. Alternatively, you can also create what we call a Unity package, and that Unity package can basically be shown as I'm going to show you just here right now. So basically, I'm going to talk through this if that's okay. What we have here is a scene inside of Revit, and as you can see, this is a native Revit file, and all the BIM data and objects are all inside of this environment here. What we're going to do is basically we're going to export out the Revit file and then put this file onto our cloud in a second. And every object within this scene has all the BIM data and all of the materials and the texture maps and so on. If we go in and just import this file via FBX into Unity, the experience that you're going to see is something similar to this. Basically, you're going to end up with no materials, no texture maps, and you're going to have to do everything by scratch. Okay? What we've been able to do is create a cloud build of the automated system itself, and you're able to take the Revit file through our building portal. You can download a Windows version, a Unity package, or an Apple package as well, and basically be able to open that up inside of Unity, where you're going to be able to see the product as what you're going to see in a second. I'm going to just fast forward through this. This is basically a direct Revit to Unity package. It basically took 35 minutes to create, okay, through our process. You're able to then automate and change whatever you need to within this product. And you can do this for any size files. We can do large files, small files, and you can take this through the process very easily and very simply. All your lights, materials, and textures will also come through. And from here, you can also obviously export out to the different platforms that Unity supports. I'm just going to show you a slightly more complicated model that we have here. So this is actually another model which is basically come from Revit inside of Unity as well. And I have these models on my laptop, and I can spend more time with you during at the expo, basically showing you what we've got and how this can be used. So inside of Unity, all the materials, all the lights are there. The thing is with Revit objects is that it's highly complicated. So there are many lights, many scenes, many textures, materials, and all of that will get computed. We've got some very our team back at VIMtrek basically has written some really clever tools to enable the simplicity of these materials and these textures to physically come into the real-time space. So what does this mean in regards to the possibilities for yourselves? Well, it was interesting to hear yesterday that augmented reality and virtual reality has changed the landscape of how Unity is going to be used. There is a much larger opportunity for companies like yourselves or individuals like yourselves to offer out services to the architecture, engineering, and construction industries, to almost increase your portfolio of services on what you're going to be able to deliver to the client side as well. All of these companies, basically, architects, they're not games programmers, even though they're looking to hire games programmers. Unity Connect is a great direction in that way as well. Okay, you can connect through a number of different people. I know at least 24 companies who are hiring today Unity developers and Unity programmers purely for architectural visualizations to help them basically increase and put together a full pipeline of virtual reality and augmented reality experiences using Unity. So your skills are going to be widely used, and you've got an industry here worth trillions of dollars globally, and you'll be able to use your skill sets not just to develop games, but to go into other leading markets where your skill sets will be widely needed and used as well. Accelerating that workflow is part of this. Okay, it's not just about it being an element of visualization that's just used at one point. It's actually used throughout the ecosystem. And visualization now for AEC is basically being delivered in a way that it's actually being used for design reviews and approvals throughout the actual build cycle itself. Okay? Beyond that, it's also the fact that everyone is using a tool set like either SketchUp or Revit to be able to create these experiences. How many of you actually have heard of a product called Revit? Okay. How many of you work today in some type of visualization for the architecture design industry? Okay, so a good few of you. How many of you have had to take Revit files and put them into Unity? Okay, how painful was it? between 1 and 10, you can put your hand up, it's okay. So from that side, we're just trying to ease your pain, but offer you a portfolio, a way of being able to offer your services within this industry, and it's growing rapidly. These are much larger opportunities, to be able to use, and it's not just in one area. Going from Revit to Unity is now not that hard. Okay, we can help you do that process. We want to help and unlock the potential that you have as game developers to be able to create and deliver the services and the things that that we've done. For majority of our careers and in game development, we've taken most of the time doing as well, which is basically delivering custom solutions, building avatars, building configurable environments that we've been doing in games for many, many years now. All of those kind of things are the types of environments that that architects want to be able to create. Real estate owners want to have that as part of, part of the ecosystem and sales process that they have. I'm just going to hit the playback button here. This is, whoops, hit the wrong button. Excuse me. Oops, let's go back. I've got. The controller has very close proximity to something else. So what you'll see here is an example created in Unity of the type of examples that a lot of the architects and designers would like to have today. Okay, and being able to, with the HTC Vive, this kind of is more possible today than it was even a year ago. Being able to walk through a room, being able to select the different types of objects, changing configurations, all of these are very simple tasks. And your skill sets, what we want to do is to open up, the visualization kimono from that side of things and be able to give you the services and the opportunity to work in not just the games industry, but a much wider, industry from that perspective. Okay, sooner or later, as John said in the last couple of days, VR and AR is not just for games. It is beyond the games industry, and this is one of the industries that is really embracing virtual reality and augmented reality and just overall interactive design. If anything, architects this was all designed for architects and designers because everything they build is physically in 3D. The fact is that for up till today, they've got away with just 2D plans and 2D renderings is absolutely insane if you think about it, okay? But now they're able to embrace technology in a way, and that's why it's being taken on at such a rapid pace. And it's not being taken on in the sense that, it's grassroots level. It's the principals in these companies who are pushing the envelope in regards to technology and the adoption of these and the technology as well. So you yourselves, everyone in this room, anyone who's a Unity developer, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to talk to you about how you can help develop and grow your portfolio and your services to not just develop games, but show wider opportunities out there in the industry itself. Why not fund your game development through delivering services through other means? From that side, your skill sets are is what the AEC industry is looking for right now. And as you can see, these things don't have to be complicated. The configurator on this is actually really simple. It's just a heads-up display. There's an ambient sundial controller. So it's really simple in regards to its overall finish and delivery. So, creating, working through either VIMtrek, and we're also working with Unity on, with Unity Connect, trying to connect the community together in regards to creating applications, your experience, what you've been doing in regards to the deliverables of creating an interactive movie file or services that all of these companies want. Why not be part of the next big skyscraper or the next digital city that's going to be developing, wherever that might be in the world? You could be part of that to deliver your services and work with as well. And VIMtrek is part of that, and you could be using Unity to help you deliver that. With that whole process, we're working with VIMtrek and with Unity. We've got VIMtrek itself as a intermediary, as a visualization platform. You've got the big data. You've got the process of redesigning and redelivering, an automated way of driving the Revit file straight to that way. And you've got efficient, effective workflows. So you're basically going to have turnkey solutions to help you on that side of things. We've got some questions. I'm kind of finished at that point. So if there are any questions, I'm quite happy to answer those right now for you.
Hi. How is the workflow if you convert a model from the architectural CAD program to the Unity package and you say change the wallpaper in Unity?
Yep.
And then the architect changes or moves another wall. Is there a kind of synchronization, or do you have to do a new export?
You'd have to re-export at that point.
And do the same change in
Right.
Unity again? Okay.
Yeah.
And also,
sorry, go on.
and also another question. Would this work with the ArchiCAD?
Or ArchiCAD?
ArchiCAD.
Yeah. No, so at the moment we have SketchUp and Revit, which are the two dominant products which are being used in the market space. We are going to be working on ArchiCAD, Rhino, and a few of the other tools to be supported as well through this process. So those are down on the roadmap right now.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So obviously there are more than just one game engine out there, right? What makes Unity the go-to choice for you guys or for the architecture, and how aware is the world of architecture of Unity? Because I guess there are lots of actors who don't know anything about game engines. So yeah, that's the question.
So about 2 years ago, I started working at Unity, leading the architecture, engineering, and manufacturing vertical. You know, we've seen a lot of development and an increase of people actually using Unity in the non-gaming markets, such as this one. Everyone that I listed on the slide earlier, every one of those companies are using Unity right now. They've chosen Unity purely because of its simplicity and the fact that it supports a number of different platforms out there, and the fact that it was one of the early game engines that you could actually have a seamless workflow from Revit through FBX into the game engine itself.
Okay, and what if I was, so I'm a game developer. I know nothing about architecture, but I think this is very interesting as an opportunity. Now, how can I hone my skills in the process, the workflow that you guys work with, without having to purchase a whole VIMtrek license?
So you don't have to purchase a VIMtrek license. We're part of a managed service. So the way we work is that we would partner with you, and you would partner with us, and we would basically, we have a number of opportunities that come to us. So our intention is to kind of, connect with you to say, hey, you know what? X architect is looking for a company to deliver, said visualizations. Our intention is to help you kind of get more work out there as a Unity developer. Okay, and that way we're exponentially growing your services and your company's value as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
I work at a real estate visualization company, and the issue we have lots of architects and big other companies. They have really a good view on real-time stuff. They are liking it. The only big reason that they are not doing it is because of the cost. In Holland here you have sometimes a company that puts there maybe 10 or 20 houses.
Yep.
And when you tell them to put something in real time and make a Unity project out of it, like the room you had there, it costs too much for them.
Right.
Do you have some examples that you can actually say, okay, we can reduce the cost in some ways, or we have, besides the automated process of models, we have something, other automated things that can make it cheaper, or you have examples too?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually part of the process that we've built is to enable is to kind of reduce the barrier in many different ways. One is to remove the barrier of entry to even use Unity as a platform. Okay? So as an architect or a designer and you're using Revit or SketchUp and you want to get into real time, VIMtrek allows you to remove that barrier and reduce it down so that you can easily kind of use a game engine. The other thing is also is that the automated process actually, again, removes the cost barrier as well. Because you're now not spending time trying to kind of interpolate the model from being a Revit model all the way to real time, but now you can spend more time, and actually the cost will be reduced. You'll be able to create more time on the configuration side to be able to deliver that. We do have we don't at the moment have any templates, but we are looking at building templates to be able to, so you can use those for configurators and so forth. So you can just load in a room, and you can use certain scripts which are built in Unity as automated configurable environments. But those are still to come. Okay.
Another question I had was the process you are having from Revit or SketchUp to Unity. We have a lot of architects that use those programs, but 3D programs, but they make a complete mess out of it. For example, toilets are like blocks, called blocks. They have grass texture on it, or they have doors that are called roofs and have a wall texture on it. How do you handle with this kind of stuff?
So we have, our systems on the back end are quite complicated, but they handle all of that data, okay? We'll take in all the materials, all the textures and everything else. We do have a kind of best practices, on what you need to do before you upload your model. So, that's something that we ask every architect to follow. We'll always get a material or 3 missing, okay? But otherwise, the model itself is in good shape, otherwise. And we will always embrace the augmented data inside of the Revit model as well. Okay. So it doesn't matter how you look at this, okay, in regards to the overall kind of vertical market opportunity. Okay, mixed reality is going to be a future for all of us. Okay, within whoever's developing for Unity, or is a Unity developer or programmer, you've got opportunities not just in the games industry, but outside in the wider vertical markets as well. And I'd love to hear your feedback. I'm going to be at the expo floor. I can show you some more demos. I can show you how VIMtrek works as well. We've got a very simple front-end user interface because, as you know, and as I said earlier, Unity is not built for this industry, but we've built something that every architect could use as a visualization tool, and then to service that further, which is what they're all going to want to do, and push the envelope out regarding graphics fidelity, get to that photorealistic, believable environment that that you saw in the bedroom scene, or even like the Adam demo. That's where your skills come in. You can hone in and you can deliver that higher fidelity experience to the architecture and design industry. If there aren't any questions, please come and see me, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.